And something that helped spark the moment was social media. You've written a foreword to a forthcoming book called Tweets from Tahrir, and Facebook is...
I hope your tweets are included in this.
I think they might be. Facebook is very widely used in Egypt. I think it's the 5th biggest country that uses Facebook. Yeah. What was the role of social media in this uprising?
Oh, it was tremendously important in mobilizing and in the first stages of organizing. So social media, as you know, of course, is just like, rapid communication, and people immediately know what's going on, and it forms a community, really. And when the call went, the Khalid Said website, basically, there are very many groups on Facebook, which are Egyptian activist groups, which, sort of call for strikes, for demonstrations, for whatever. And one of them in particular, which was very active, was the We Are All Khalid Said.
Explain who Khalid Said is.
Well, Khalid Said is a young man who was killed by the security forces in Alexandria last year. And he was not an activist. And that was really his great strength, because he became a kind of everyman. Until then, people who were on the sidelines could easily say that people who were dragged away and kidnapped and tortured and ill-treated by the regime kind of knew they had it coming because they were activists, because they were politically dissident and against the regime. But Khalid Said wasn't. He was a young man who happened to be in possession of a video, which many people were in possession of, which showed police dealing narcotics, basically. And he was killed in the street by two
coming out of an internet cafe, right?
Coming out of an internet cafe, exactly. And so that really became a touchstone.
And the picture of his broken face was
there was a before
widely.
And after, right. And his family were very active. He has a mother and a sister, and the image of the mother sort of, grieving, and then actually sort of being there in protests, and being at the court at the trial of the two men who killed him, and so on, again became very much a touchstone. And so his website, which was run by Wa'il Ghunim, from Dubai, which is another wonderful sort of aspect of all this, the Google guy in Dubai, put out this call for the protests on the 20th of January. And was amazed within a very short space of time to get something like 360,000 responses saying we'll be there. So at that point, about 11 groups, Facebook groups, decided to meet and coordinate this. And they coordinated the 25th of January. Very soon afterwards, they said that if they were to have any credit, they would have credit for about 20% of the people who came out on the 25th of January. The rest was all follow-on.
Sharif, you have told the joke that is going around Egypt. It might be appropriate to share here.
There's a joke that Mubarak dies and he goes up and sees Anwar Sadat and Gamal Abdel Nasser, the two former presidents of Egypt. And one was assassinated, one died by heart attack. And so they ask him, how were you killed? Was it heart attack or assassination? He says, no, it was Facebook.
That's right.
But on the role of social media, a lot of people I spoke with, they shut off the internet in an unprecedented move to try and cut off communications. On the 28th, the Day of Rage, they cut off the cell phones. This was perhaps the stupidest thing they could have done, because a lot of people that I spoke with who were never active before said, I was going to stay at home, maybe, check it out on Facebook, call my friends, but I couldn't, and so I hit the streets.
Yeah.
And so I think while social media is very, very important in organizing, especially in this country, it can sometimes be used to be complacent and not actively take part in the streets.
Yeah.
But we didn't see that in Egypt. Everyone took part in the streets, and that's what made this successful.
Absolutely. Everyone came out, and as it went on, more and more people came out. As word spread, and then as people got curious, and people came down to see what was happening, and as the rumors went round about how everybody in Tahrir was actually an agent of the Americans or the Israelis or the Iranians or Hezbollah or Hamas, who were all suddenly working together happily to destabilize Egypt. So people were coming out to see for themselves. So you're completely right. I think that the new media were very good in the build-up. They were essential in the build-up. But actually, even when it came to the actual organization of where the protests were going to start from and the routes they were going to take, people did not do that on the media. They met. And they did that in private rooms and so on. So, yeah. And then again, I mean, to pick up on what you said, I think that everything that the regime did from the moment that the revolution started was stupid and was counterproductive. And even when they made a move that looked as if it might reap dividends, they ruined it within a few hours by making, a move in a different direction. So it's very good. I mean, we're very glad that they demonstrated their obtuseness in this way.